Hello and good morning, and welcome to the Fucked Up Guides Fucked Up podcast, where we tackle a series of real life topics with humor, honesty, a sprinkle of fucks, and a shit ton of metaphors. I'm your host, and today we're unpacking the topic of respect in relationships. Holy shit, this is going to be a good one. So strap in, bitches, because we're about to unpack another perspective when it comes to respect. But as always, and I must always give you this disclosure before we dive into today's topic, folks, I must advise you we are not medical professionals by any stretch of the imagination. If you feel or need or require medical attention, a therapist, if you will, please seek a medical professional. We have learned and continue to learn, and till this day, continue to learn and learn and learn our lessons from the school of life. And we're here to articulate the things we have learned, the things that we're learning in this lifetime, meaning the good, the bad, the ugly, and the indifferent. Moreover, I want to also be mindful of today's topic. This is going to discuss gender, culture, and other topics that may be sensitive to some of you folks. So I want to make sure that I'm cognizant of that and letting you guys know. Remember, we're here to entertain, motivate, and get you thinking a little. And now that we've got all of that shit out of the way, we can get this going. On our last episode, we gave you a full overview on respect. We recapped that really respect is the foundation of everything. Self-respect, as discussed, is about establishing boundaries that define what is acceptable, what it's not, thereby safeguarding one's mental and emotional health. Again, goes back to boundaries, right? If you followed the first 3 episodes, we talked about setting those boundaries, why we set those boundaries, how does that affect you in certain situations, and tips on how to navigate all of that. We also now talk about, next up on our recap, mutual respect being the cornerstone of healthy and harmonious relationships, whether it's a personal relationship, a professional relationship, communal, or familial. Redefining respect as a default rather than an earned privilege promotes a culture of equity and justice. This goes back to our parents and our grandparents. The notion of respect is earned rather than a default. And then lastly, we talked about and we touched upon disrespect, which is indeed a corrosive force that can infiltrate and erode the fabric of our interactions and our overall relationships. And quite frankly, in my own personal opinion, our overall mental and emotional health. So with that, we turn our sights over to love, romance, relationships. And when we examine the significance of mutual respect and love within relationships, it's crucial that we explore how these elements actually manifest and how they evolved across various dimensions within your relationship. Understand that when you're in a committed relationship, these are not one note dimensions, right? And when we talk about dimensions, they're the different layers of intimacy. Mutual respect in and outside of the bedroom, mutual respect when it comes to our own emotional health, our own mental health, their emotional health, and the boundaries that they have established for not only themselves, but again, those introspection. And we can go back to those introspection questions later on. Initially, as a couple, respect serves as the cornerstone and again becomes a cornerstone. This is a pillar of something that fortifies the bond between partners. It encompasses valuing each other's opinions, acknowledging personal boundaries, fostering open communication infused with empathy and understanding, no matter what the subject is. And it's a foundation, and this foundation of respect creates a nurturing environment where both individuals feel heard, validated, and supported, laying the groundwork for a healthy, long-term, harmonious partnership, which is really the end goal, isn't it, folks? However, within those intricacies of respect become more nuanced when navigating the intersections of culture, gender normatives, and what we've been raised as little girls and little boys to understand what relationships and what the roles within a relationship is within our own parents, our grandparents, and so on. And, going back to even society and touching upon that, even society as we grew up, and depending on what culture you're in, I myself am Latina and very proud of it, but understand that those gender and culture normatives within the Latino culture, depending also what nationality you may be from, because that will also take into a part that intersection of the conversation. We all know it's a very male driven, very patriarchal patriarchy existence. And although we are in 2024, and the women's movement has made a huge shift in that, we still see ourselves in that society, and we'll go over that in a little bit more detail in a couple of interesting tidbits that that I have for you. But to really set the stage for this, society often imposes those rigid stereotypes and those expectations based on gender roles, which can inadvertently lead to misunderstandings and conflicts within partners. And understand that relationships are not a one size fits all. And what our grandmothers were doing 67 60 years ago, 70 years ago, isn't working for us today. And while we understand the cultures and the values, we also have to adapt to the increase in the need for a two-income household, the increase for a need of a more egalitarian, equal partnership, as more and more pressures of society, of the economy, of the household continues. And it's not just that, shouldn't be just the reasons. It's a partnership. See, and I know I'm going down this rabbit hole, but it's a partnership, meaning it's not 50-50. It's you've committed to a relationship, and and there will be ebbs and flows, and you have to, if you're a good partner, you will pick up if you need, and the other person will pick up what you need, and it just becomes a delicate balance. Now, going back to cultural backgrounds, this brings forth diverse traditions, values, norms that may require sensitivity and adaptability to navigate effectively. In this context, though, respect transcends that surface level perception. And that's exactly what I'm just fucking talking about, right? And we have to delve more into a deeper understanding into our unique experiences, into your partner's unique experiences, their unique perspectives, and those identities that are shaped by gender and cultural heritage are just surface, because those can easily get dismantled if you really have that open communication. Because now you're talking about dismantling those harmful stereotypes and really challenging that norm in order for you to find balance with your partner and what actually works in your relationship. And that's going to be dismantling those harmful stereotypes, like I mentioned, fostering that inclusivity, and creating a space where both partners can thrive authentically while honoring each other's differences. So, within the dynamic of interplay of gender and culture, mutual respect and love need to be that guiding force in order to foster that connection, that acceptance, the mutual growth within the relationship, and moreover, dismantling all of that bullshit. Because what it is it's bullshit minutia that at the end of the day can make or break a relationship if you're not open-minded. And respect in a relationship is also akin to that invisible power force that binds two individuals together, right? That connection. Boundaries and respect are an act of love. And the more you're able to pour that respect, the more you're able to be able to uphold those boundaries and respect their boundaries, you're really creating a very harmonious union. And, it goes beyond the mere politeness. It delves into the core of valuing each other as equals. And that's the key word here, equal. Equal. Equal is what basically kills the gender normative and kills those culture stereotypes that we have been brought up as children. If you view your partner as an equal, and there shouldn't be a hierarchy, and it's hard, because at times in relationships, there's an unbalance. There could be an emotional unbalance. There could be operation. I call it an operational imbalance, but it's really your day-to-day logistics, right? Um, it could be an emotional imbalance for whatever reason, a fiscal imbalance. And that is where you need to be, that becomes that you project where you need to look at yourself internally and say, okay, what's the core of the problem here? Because at the end of the day, remember, this person doesn't complete you. You should be coming in as a complete person to complement the other, hence creating this harmonious union. So the idea of really honing in on your boundaries, honing in on that mutual respect, that self-respect, you're able to honor your partner. And that's reflected in how we honor their opinions, how we recognize each other's viewpoints, and contribute to the richness of this connection. Moreover, respect extends to acknowledging and honoring those boundaries. Going back to the fucking boundaries, people. Understanding everybody has their comfort zone and has their limits. And that is something that should be respected without fucking question. I'm going to repeat that again. You need to understand and honor your partner's boundaries, and he or she needs to honor they need to honor yours. Understanding that everybody has a comfort zone, everyone has a limit, and it should be your partner that not only, and listen, in moments of expansion and learning and growth, there needs to be uncomfort. Your partner should also serve that role of pushing you out of that comfort zone slightly in order for you to learn and grow. But it has to be in order for you to learn and grow. There's also that delicate balance of respecting the limits and honoring them without question. And this is where we go also into the topic of autonomy, right? This also plays a crucial role because here's the thing, you are both two complete individuals. Therefore, there's that delicate balance of being a cohesive unit, but also being an individual. And that is where autonomy comes in. And it plays a crucial role because you're allowing, by practicing this autonomy, you're allowing each person the freedom to be themselves, pursue their own interests, and grow individually while nurturing the relationship, because that is what you want. It's all about personal growth. At the end of the day, this is all about you. It's all about me. And like I said in the previous episode, the more you pour into you, the more you're able to pour into others. Therefore, you will also get it gets poured back into you. And it comes down to the I am. I am who I am. And with that, you're in essence honoring yourself, respecting yourself, loving yourself, and having the ability and the energy and the effort to love others. Now, what do we always talk about? Communication. And again, this forms the backbone of respect. It involves active listening, expressing thoughts and feelings, and being receptive to feedback without defensiveness. And that's hard. We never said this journey would be easy. There's going to be moments that it gets hard. And there's going to be moments where you're not going to want to express yourself. And there's going to be moments where you're going to get defensive. And this is where faith and trust come in, that your partner continues to honor you, which then in turns, empathy walks into the door, because it allows our partners, myself, my partner, your partner, you, to really understand each other's emotions, each other's experiences, fostering that deeper bond of compassion and understanding. Because ultimately, mutual respect creates that safe space, that nurturing environment where both individuals can thrive emotionally, intellectually, and personally, forming a partnership that is built on a solid foundation of trust and admiration. Without that, you have a crumbling structure. And there isn't enough self-medication. There isn't enough things. There isn't enough excuses to deflect when your foundation is not solid, because it will manifest itself in the most crazy, fucked up ways you would ever fucking imagine. Now, going back to the realm of gender and cultural dynamics within a relationship, respect takes an even deeper significance. Because of societal norms and expectations that often dictate our rules and behaviors based on gender, and again, imposing those rigid stereotypes that can inadvertently really strain that relationship, and we talked about this earlier. These surface level, and I even call it, it's like fucking stick, it's like film. It's like that fucking film when you don't wash something properly and you still got that film of fucking grease or whatever. That's those norms. Those are those societal norms that have been beating us over the head for years, for decades. And clearly we've noticed in our society that shit doesn't work. The divorce is still at as an all-time high. The breakdown of families, this shit's not working. So dictating those behaviors, that's what strains it. And then having those, and then throw cultural background into it, that's with its own set of traditions, values, and norms. You're throwing in something that can clash with those mainstream ideals. So again, going back to a relationship between two individuals is not a one size fits all. A relationship between two individuals has to be between the two individuals. Because here's the thing. If you truly respect your partner, of power struggles in a gender stereotype, the power struggle in a cultural stereotype, the power struggle in a societal stereotype, all of that shit gets broken down when you truly respect, honor, and love the person that you're with. All of that gets broken down. And that means acknowledging and embracing the unique qualities and perspectives in each person. What are they bringing to the table in this relationship? And really understanding who that person is beyond the confines of role, expectation, societal norm, all of that shit goes away. And that really requires, and that's a deep understanding of being open-minded and empathetic and a willingness to learn and understand each other's experiences, their challenges, what they've been through without fucking judgment, guys, what their aspirations are. And taking identity and heritage out the window. It also involves challenging and dismantling those stereotypes, the biases that really can hinder a genuine connection. And by fostering that climate of respect that honors individuality, that celebrates diversity, couples can celebrate a space and create a space where both partners are feeling valued, understood, empowered to be their authentic selves. So I ask you, in your relationships, in your romantic relationships, and I would like to hear it, whether send it to me. I would love to hear it. I would love to hear your stories. Send it to me at TikTok. Send it to me at Instagram at The Fucked Up Guide. I would love to hear your stories. I would love to understand how much of yourself have you been able to put into your relationship? How authentic are you? Because also understand that respect and love are twin pillars, and upon which that's how relationships are built. Love, obviously, is that emotional fuel that ignites that passion, that intimacy, that connection. But respect provides that solid foundation. You can love someone so much, but they're no good for you because there isn't that respect. And you can respect someone so much that the foundation is unbreakable and the intimacy is there and the vulnerability can happen and those walls can come down. So love can exist, but respect and love is what builds strong relationships, those long-lasting relationships. Because without respect, love can falter and crumble, like I mentioned. And respect forms that bedrock of trust and understanding, fostering that deep sense of security. And more importantly, and I think this is the most important part of it, acceptance. Acceptance of your partner, no matter the circumstances, no matter what walk of life, no matter the past, no matter the societal norms, the gender normative. It's about respecting your partner. And where that respect thrives, both partners feel valued for who they are as individuals. This means honoring each other's thoughts, feelings, opinions, and even in those moments of disagreement, agree to disagree. It also involves active listening, empathy, the willingness to see things from each other's perspectives. Respect also encompasses recognizing and appreciating each other's boundaries, personal space, and autonomy, allowing them to be them, allowing them to grow as individuals. We're not property, people. We're not each other's property. We are individuals with thought, reasoning, and we need to grow personally. And when you have all of those beautiful ingredients and all of that combination, and that's all fucking present, this is where you feel free, you feel safe to express yourself authentically, and knowing that you're going to be heard, respected, and not judged. It creates that supportive environment where partners can grow and evolve together while standing as their own. It encourages mutual encouragement, empowerment, a shared sense of purpose. When respect is deeply ingrained in a relationship, it paves the way for open communication, constructive conflict resolution, and a deep emotional connection that transcends all of the fucking surface level interaction and bullshit. Ultimately, it is love and respect that forms the cornerstone of a healthy, fulfilling partnership that can test the test of time, whether life is up, whether life is down, because you're both doing it, you're both committed to it, and you're both committing to being resilient and walking together with grace. So, how do we always maintain mutual respect in our relationships? The first one, and I always say this, it's always going to be the same shit. Well, it's not, but let's go into this. I'm going to give you a perspective of the same value, of the same things we've talked about. Communication, talking openly and honestly with your partner, listening actively, validating each other's feelings and experiences. Over communicate if you can. Clear transparency. Number 2 is boundaries, going back to fucking boundaries. You better listen to those first 3 episodes, folks. Respect each other's boundaries and communicate your boundaries clearly. Healthy boundaries foster trust and understanding. Number 3, empathy. Put yourself in your partner's shoes. Seek to understand their perspective and show empathy and compassion. Cultural awareness. Be mindful of the cultural differences. Be open to learning and respecting each other's cultural backgrounds. Remember, when you get into a committed relationship, it's not just a person. You are bringing in and holding and hugging and embracing his culture, his background, her background, their culture, their family values. And that is something that they're bringing to the table. And that is what I'm saying. It's surface, and you got to break those down as you become a cohesive unit, because you're bringing the same thing in, buddy. Conflict resolution is your next one. handling conflicts respectfully, avoid blame, criticism, and focus on finding solutions together. And last but not least, appreciation. Show appreciation for your partner's strengths, efforts, and contributions to the relationship, and express gratitude regularly. So, folks, we're going to recap this episode. Foundational respect creates a nurturing environment where both individuals feel heard, validated, and supported, laying the groundwork for a healthy and harmonious partnership. Autonomy, too, plays a crucial role in the respect within relationships. You're allowed to be who you are freely and openly while helping and nurturing the relationship. And finally, communication forms the backbone of respect in the relationship. And remember, you are in control. You must set the example on how you want to be treated and don't ever settle for less. This journey that we're all on is not about being selfish. It's about being self-aware and practicing self-love and mutual love for those of you who are in relationships. Because you are fucking enough, you fucking matter, and you're fucking worth it. That is all for today's episode of the Fucked Up Guide. Join us next time when we attack part 2 of respect and relationships, the war of the fucking roses. What happens when things go sideways in relationships, and perhaps respect may not be the first thing on your mind. Oof. As always, we're going to tackle that topic with humor, honesty, a sprinkle of fucks, and a shit ton of metaphors. If you enjoyed this content, follow us on TikTok at The Fucked Up Guide or on Instagram. And follow this podcast. Take your fucking pick. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, as I'm recording right now on, Pandora, iHeartRadio, you name it, we're there. Audible, Patreon. Until then, take care of yourselves and keep taking care of your partners like the fucking kings and queens that you are, because at the end of the day, you matter. Thank you for sticking around.